back, everybody, to the Ottawa Senators Outlook. Today we're going to have a fun one. We're going to do our standings predictions and postseason predictions. If you like the video, please subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment. So we're going to start in the Atlantic Division. And in 8th place, I'm going to take, as most of you would, the Buffalo Sabres. I just think with Jack Eichel, the saga going on, he wants to trade Owen Power, their first overall draft pick. He's going to play his sophomore year at Michigan. I just don't know if they have it again. I think they're going to have another year to recuperate. I think they're going to need a little bit more time to come up with more talent. And we'll see where it goes on from there. And now for number 7, maybe an obvious one too, I have the Detroit Red Wings. They got Simon Edvinsson in the draft from Sweden, 6th overall. But I think Detroit does best, one of the best, I would say, in the off-season. So I think the regular season is, let's show them what we have. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have a lot. But they're going to work with what they have. And now coming in 6th place in the Atlantic Division, I have my Ottawa Senators. This is probably another one. They got Brady Tkachuk. I was very happy that he signed there. Thomas Chabot. They have a lot of talent. And I think they proved the point at the end of the season last year. They were last in the North Division. They worked their way up to second to last, which still really isn't that good, with 51 points behind Vancouver. Sorry, in front of Vancouver with 50 points. But I think they're going to have a pretty decent year. They have Pierre Maguire in front office. They extended Pierre Dorian. Long-term signed Chabot and Tkachuk. And it's going to be pretty exciting for us. Number 5 now. I'm going to take the Montreal Canadiens. Now this is a big one. Carey Price is out. He's going to focus on his mental health. They got Logan Mailloux, an interesting pick in the draft, 31st overall. I just don't think they're worthy of a top 5 yet. Sorry, top 4, but they're willing to make it in 5th place. Obviously, probably going to miss the playoffs, but if they can get Carey Price as soon as possible, I can see them be a decent team. But for now, not a playoff team, and that's why I have them in 5th place. At number 4 now, we have the Florida Panthers. They got Joe Thornton, but is it enough? I almost put them in 3rd place, but I think the team that put themselves in 3rd is going to show a lot of potential again. I just don't know if Florida shows that. I think they'll use this year to come in 4th place, and maybe they'll have a good season next year. Well, who knows? And now we go to 3rd place, which is probably an obvious pick. I have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mitch Marner. We thought he was going to go during the offseason. Justin Holl was kind of playing a little rusty in the playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens. But they had John Tavares again, who got injured. And it was a very scary injury, game 1 in the playoffs. I think they show a lot of potential. Are they worthy of 2nd or 1st? Not really. But they prove a point. And I see them coming in 3rd because of it. And now, 2 and 1, I will take the Boston Bruins in 2nd and the Tampa Bay Lightning in 1st. Let's talk about Boston. They got Lysell in the draft. They got rid of a couple players, like Nick Ritchie. They did get Mike Riley from Ottawa, and they took a couple players, sent them to Toronto. Nick Ritchie, forgot the other name, but Nick Ritchie, he did go to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they'll have a decent year. They'll make a nice run in the playoffs, but I just think the Tampa Bay Lightning have it. They're back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. We haven't had that since the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016 and 2017, but they do show a point. I believe they're one of the strongest teams in the playoffs. And in this division. This is a very tough division. And I think the Tampa Bay Lightning take care of that carefully. I think they do really well. They show a lot of potential. And we'll see. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't come in 1st. But they're going to put up one heck of a performance this year. Metropolitan Division now. 8th place. I'm going to take the New Jersey Devils. I just honestly believe this is going to be another year. They got Luke Hughes. You got 2 brothers in the draft. You got Dougie Hamilton there. But is it enough? Is it enough to at least get 7th place? I don't think this year, but next year, well, they're going to get a good draft pick this season for 2022. I think they'll do something next year there. In the next few years, I think they're worthy of a playoff spot. Number 7 now, I have the cold Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Columbus could be an obvious pick for last in the division, but I just think they come up with a little bit. I don't know if it's a lot. It definitely isn't a lot. But is it deserving to put them in 8th place? I don't think so. I think they'll come in 7th. They'll get a good draft pick, just like New Jersey. But New Jersey shows that they're going to be an interesting team to watch. So Columbus has to step up their game. Otherwise, they'll be the 8th place team in that division. Number 6 now, New York Rangers. I think the Rangers, they improved over the last couple of games, especially at the end of the season. They got themselves out of 6th place, gave it to the Flyers. But they have Alexis Lafreniere there. They're the New York Rangers. Are they gonna be good? Are they not gonna be so good? That's the thing. We don't know. And that's why I just have them in 6th. I think they're the obvious pick for 6th. But you never know. 5th place. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Flyers. You know, hot take hockey. John Riveros, he did say that they're going to come in 2nd. I don't think they're going to be highly up there, but they're going to show that they're going to be an interesting team to watch this season. Again, I don't know, but they could be higher. I'm putting them in 5th just because of the other 4 teams, but they're going to be a team that's going to show strong potential. And yeah, they're going to be a heck of a contender this year. 4th place, New York Islanders. They got a couple of guys. They had Cal Palmieri. They had a lot of guys. They went to the conference finals 2 straight years, both against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But I don't know if they're the best regular season team in the division. Listen, they're a good team. They're good in the playoffs. But in the regular season against these other 3 teams, I don't know. 3rd place, I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby. I think the thing that hurts them the most is injuries. Injuries will hurt them the most, especially with Crosby and all the other players. Goaltending looked pretty well against Tampa Bay on Tuesday, but can they keep that up? They lost in overtime to Florida. They got the point. They have 3 points as I'm recording this. But, yeah, 3rd place is where I have them. I almost put them in 2nd, but then I had to think. Because in number 2 and 1, I had number 1 the entire time, and number 2, probably an obvious pick again. Carolina Hurricanes in 2nd, the Washington Capitals in 1st, winning the division. Carolina's a really, really, really great team. I think they're one of the best in the league. They won their division last year. But I just didn't think they were going to go all the way. They were super impressive, and I expect them to do very impressive this year. But now let's go to the Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin. That's the thing. I think Washington has the same issue as Pittsburgh. I think it's injuries. I think Ovechkin's going to pull off an interesting performance. But the Carolina Hurricanes can also show a lot of things. So Washington has to step up their game. Otherwise, Carolina is going to be the team of this division. Now we're going to go to the Western Conference. We have the Central Division. And coming in 8th place, I have the Arizona Coyotes. Dylan Gunther. who looks like a good player. But this team just, I don't know. I just don't think they have it in them. I think this is another obvious pick to put in last in this division. It's a very tough decision. They're coming in. They came out of the Pacific, came from the Central with the expansion Seattle Kraken team. But this division also has a couple good teams as well. So, and the way Arizona has been playing lately looked very cold. They didn't seem like a red hot team. So can they keep doing that? Can they play well? I don't think so. I think they're going to come in 8th place, and we'll see where they get from there. 7th place, Nashville Predators. They went down in the standings. They are originally, they're most of the time a playoff team, but I just don't think they're going to be that this year. Again, like, with a lot of complications, they lost to the Kraken. I just don't think they're a good team already. And, again, they're going to get past Arizona, but they're not going to be a good team this year. And I think a lot of us can agree with that, which puts us in 6th place. And this is going to be a big topic for this division, in which that will be the Chicago Blackhawks. Somehow, some way, they got Marc-Andre Fleury from the Vegas Golden Knights. They got Seth Jones from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Signed Seth Jones long-term. But is it really worth it? I mean, Chicago, lately, they were one of the most, they were a team that commonly had forced penalties. They forced penalties, their opponents got power plays, and they were not able to kill off the penalty. They can't do that again. Marc-Andre Fleury's in net. He shows a lot of potential. He's a really good goalie. I think he deserved better. But there's also problems with him there. I honestly believe that Vegas goalies, I'll get to them later, but Marc-Andre Fleury is 35 years old. Has he been getting any better? Not that much, but I think he's gonna be a get to the Blackhawks. That's all I'll tell you right now. Number 5, I have the Dallas Stars. This is an interesting one. They got a lot of players over the offseason. They were able to do a lot, but are they able to do a lot on the ice? I think they might be able to be enough to be a playoff contender, but I don't think they're going to be like worth one of the top teams in the division. Like I said, they might be a playoff team, but I don't know. Just 5th place, it's not the place you want to be, because either you're going to make the playoffs or you're not going to make the playoffs. It depends on 2 wildcard teams. 4th place is definitely a comfortable spot, but you have to really play your butt off if you want to do that. And I honestly think Dallas can. And then we go to number 4. I have the St. Louis Blues. I think they're gonna show a lot. They got Logan Brown from the Ottawa Senators. He is a decent player, so, and along with others too. But ever since they won the Stanley Cup, I haven't seen a lot of them. So I wonder if they're gonna do it or they're not gonna do it. This is the main question, and it's very, very interesting to see how they'll play. They're enough for a wild card, but are they enough to be a real contender in the playoffs? Number 3, the Minnesota Wild. We have a big story for you right here. They were the 3rd seed in the West Division. They shocked us. They really did. I thought they weren't going to be that good. I think they can do good this year as well. Are they worth like 2nd round, maybe 3rd round? Probably not. But they showed a lot of excitement for this team last year, And I think they can do it again this year. Now we're at the 2-1, and this is probably an obvious one right here. As you can see, the Winnipeg Jets coming in second, and the Colorado Avalanche winning the division. In fact, I think Colorado will win the President's Cup this year. Let's talk about Winnipeg. The obvious pick for them last year in the North Division was to come in sixth, obviously ahead of the Ottawa Senators. But Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, they have great players, and I think they're gonna put on a show again this year. I think they're worthy of a really good playoff spot. But now we're gonna talk about the Colorado Avalanche, in which they probably one of the best teams in the league. In Winnipeg, I think the Winnipeg Jets fans should be happy about where they're at, because second place behind one of the best teams in the league, that's pretty good. Unless it's a distant second place, which I honestly don't think it'll be that distant. I'm thinking maybe like a 5-point, 6-point difference. Colorado now. Wow. They won the President's Cup last year. I think they'll do it again this year. Obvious pick for the Stanley Cup last year. But they got blanked out after a 2-0 lead in the series against the Vegas Golden Knights, in which they're a good team too. But I think Colorado, Nathan MacKinnon, one of the great players currently, and I think he's gonna lead them up. They're gonna be really good in the playoffs. They'll make a really great run. And yeah, we'll see what they do, because I think some of the Central Division teams are going to be very interesting to watch this year. Both Winnipeg, Colorado. I think Minnesota's going to be one too. And now, to what I believe, as many others, is the weakest division in the National Hockey League, the Pacific Division. Number 8. A lot of people are not going to like this pick. And if I were able to go back and switch it, I probably would. Number 8, I have the Los Angeles Kings. It's so hard. The way the Ducks and the Sharks drafted, they got really solid picks. They got Brant Clark, but I just think the Kings don't have it. They'll get a good draft pick, and maybe they'll be the best out of the California teams again. But for now, I just don't know. I know a lot of people are very high on the Kings, and obviously it looks like I'm not. But I think the Kings may be very underrated. But I'm just trying to see where I can go with my picks. I just think if people think a team's gonna be really good, they probably won't be. So I'm trying to be my own person here, because I think a lot of people are very high on the Kings this year. They're gonna be a really good contender. They're going to be pretty decent in this division in a couple of years. Number 7 now. And now the Kings can finally go in peace here with the Anaheim Ducks coming in 7th. Mason McTavish. You put him on. That was a solid draft pick. According to the ESPN prospects, he was 9th. But that doesn't mean anything. He's a really good shooter. He plays offense very well. He can actually play defense. But besides that, they really don't have anything. I just think Mason McTavish can, and he may not even do a lot this year. Their defense is kind of weak. Their offense doesn't show up sometimes, although they did against the Winnipeg Jets the other day. But for now, I'm just putting them in 7th. 6th place, obviously, you know what this is now. It's the San Jose Sharks. They got William Eklund, which is a really solid pick. I think he's going to be, if he goes on the ice, he's going to show a lot of potential. But this is an obvious pick. In the Pacific Division, you expect the bottom 3 teams to be the California teams. And I believe this is going to be them again, with the Sharks being the best one out of the 3. They were not so bad last year, but the Kings actually showed up. The Kings showed up, and although they tied, I guess they gave it to the Kings, and they were able to get William Eklund easier. Again, a really, really good draft pick. Number 5 now, Calgary Flames, Matthew Tkachuk, Johnny Gaudreau. They both want out of that team. And I think there's going to be a lot of problems with this team coming pretty soon. I think those both will play pretty decently. But the problem is, that if your 2 star players want to get out of that team, then you have a problem with your management and your coaching. I think Calgary needs to step up their game, specifically with management, because if those 2 players want to go, it's your 2 best players, then that proves the point that you're not doing a good job. Number 4, Seattle Kraken. Yes, Seattle, though, they actually are a fairly decent team after what I've been seeing over the last couple of times. They barely lost to the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday, and then when I recorded this, which was Friday night last night, they won against the Nashville Predators. They have strong goaltending. Even Brian Boucher said this against the Vegas Golden Knights. They could make the playoffs. I think they're very worthy of it. I don't know about this year, but pretty soon enough, they can show that they can do it. Number 3, I have the Vancouver Canucks. They're going to be a sneaky playoff contender. Quinn Hughes got signed for 6 years, I believe. And they're going to be super, super sneaky. Underrated team. I think injuries ruined them last year. If it weren't for injuries, they were going to be a very decent team in the North Division. But injuries screwed them up. They weren't able to do it. And hey, they may be the decent team. After trading the 9th overall pick to the Coyotes, do you want to win now or win later? They chose to win now. And for the playoffs, they're going to be very sneaky in a very weak division. And now we have our top 2. I believe that this is going to come down to the wire in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. That is a very interesting pick. But let me tell you why. This is not about what Vegas did over the offseason, specifically about Marc-Andre Fleury. I think this is about the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas. So first off, you have a younger goaltender who's probably just as good as Marc-Andre Fleury, maybe even better. So what's the purpose of keeping Marc-Andre Fleury if you do that? But I honestly think they did a very terrible job of connecting to him. But overall, they are a really good team. I don't know about Seattle as an expansion team, but Vegas made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year. I don't know if Seattle's going to do that, but Vegas always puts on a show. They can get rid of a player. They got Dadonov from the Ottawa Senators. Nick Holden's gone. He went to Ottawa for Dadonov. Dadonov's a very decent player. I've seen him play for the Ottawa Senators. He actually will fit pretty well in Vegas. Now let's go to the Oilers. This is a very interesting topic. You have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, obviously everybody knows. Then over the offseason, they had an interesting one. They got Cody Ceci from the Pittsburgh Penguins. And they also got Zach Hyman from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Zach Hyman is a very great player, and him working with Cody Ceci, who was also, I believe, is a decent player. Those two working with Draisaitl and McDavid, they're going to be a spoiler team. They're going to be pretty well. And now we're going to go to the playoffs. This is my postseason predictions. We're going to start in the Western Conference. Number 1, I have the Colorado Avalanche. Number 2, I'm going to take the Edmonton Oilers. Number 3, I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 4, I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets. Number 5, I have the Minnesota Wild. And number 6, I have the Vancouver Canucks. For the wild cards now, number 7, I have the St. Louis Blues, obviously. And then number 8, pretty shocking to you, I have the Dallas Stars. I think Seattle's going to barely miss out of the playoffs. They could make it this year. They have strong goaltending. Like I said, but I think Dallas is going to look like the better team, and just by a little bit. So now let's go to round one. Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, you know who's going to move on here, and that's going to be the Colorado Avalanche. St. Louis and Edmonton. Again, probably another one that's pretty obvious, and that's the Edmonton Oilers. They're going to move on. After missing out in the first round and missing the playoffs, technically, if you want to consider it, in 2020 during the pandemic, when they played on their home ice against the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, here we go now. A rematch of the second round of the 2020 Stanley Cup Finals. Playoffs, second round. Vegas and Vancouver. I'm going to take, probably, obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, this is going to be an interesting series. The Minnesota Wild and the Winnipeg Jets. This could be a 7-game series, but I feel like this will finish out in 6 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets. Anyways, I think Colorado could sweep it. Edmonton will win it in 5. Vegas will win it in 5, and then 6 games for the Jets. Now we're going to go to the Western Conference semifinals. If you want me to make it easier for you, that will be the second round. Jets and the Avalanche. This is going to be a 6-game set in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. And then Vegas and Edmonton. This is actually going to go to 7 games, in my opinion, in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. In this one, again, these two teams are going to be very, very great this year. I think Vegas will come up short to Edmonton, but Vegas will get them back in the playoffs. The Western Conference Finals, Vegas and Colorado. Colorado will get their revenge over the Vegas Golden Knights in last season's second round, and they will make their first Stanley Cup Finals appearance since 2001. And that will go to the Eastern Conference. Number 1, Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 2, the Boston Bruins. Number 3, the Washington Capitals. Number 4, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 5, the Pittsburgh Penguins. And number 6, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wild cards now. Number 7, probably an obvious one, the New York Islanders. And number 8, which I said the Philadelphia Flyers could be a sneaky and very underrated team and showing a lot of potential. I think they're willing enough to make the playoffs, and I think they can take out Florida for the 8th seed. Let's go to round 1. Flyers and the Lightning. Obviously, I think we know who's going to win this one, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think that'll go to 5 games. Philly will take, 6 games. Philly will take 2 of them. And then New York Islanders, Boston Bruins. The Islanders are a very, very great team in the playoffs. But I just think Boston shows a lot more strength, especially at a home field advantage in this series. I think this will go to Boston. Toronto and Washington. A battle of 2 very terrible first-round teams. One of them will break their record for, first rounds. Sorry, Toronto Maple Leafs fans. I think that'll be the Washington Capitals who will do that. Pittsburgh and Carolina. This will be a 7-game set. And I think everybody knows that. Sidney Crosby, the Carolina Hurricanes, they're very strong, both teams. But I think this is going to come to the tip of the edge. And that is going to be in the favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's go to the second round, Eastern Conference semifinals. Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning. This was also a second round set. Carolina had the better record. It went to Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay will get this one again. And then the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. Boston's going to keep rolling. I think, despite losing the division to the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're gonna be a really great team again. Eastern Conference Finals now. The Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning, which will obviously go, in my opinion, to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that'll be in 7 games as well. And now, the moment a lot of you have been waiting for, the Stanley Cup Finals in between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. This will go to 7 games, and the winner of the Stanley Cup Finals of 2022, for the first time since 2001, the Colorado Avalanche will win it. Nathan MacKinnon, I believe, will win the MVP. He will skate around with the cup first as captain, and they have themselves a Stanley Cup, knocking off and crushing dreams of the Tampa Bay Lightning's three-peat. But 3 Stanley Cup Finals straight appearances for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They'll go 2 for 3. Alright, this is my NHL postseason and regular season predictions. I hope you like it. Again, if you like it, smash the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment. See you next time.